You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
It is July 10th and we're bored. Let's get into it with the lead. That is a Taylor Swift level outfit change right there. I did that quick
that was
as shit.
I extended the lead by a little bit.
Yeah, it's good that we made it work. I'll throw that hanger down there. Very bored. It is July 10th. Welcome into Oilers Nation Every Day, coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio, 3 locations in the Edmonton area. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca.
It's also
as
a little
well.
crooked behind you now. Maybe give it a little. There we go. Shout out Sports Closet.
Shout out to the Sports Closet and the Sports Closet studio. July 10th. There are 3 people in the office right now. It is myself, it is Aaron, it is our boy Eli, who edits video for us behind the scenes. There is not a lot going on. There's basically been no news on any front in the NHL since we did a show on Monday. I'm mildly regretting agreeing to do the show 3 times a week for the entire summer. We were trying to come up with a title for the stream today. And Aaron said, why don't we call it Dog Days of Summer? I said, Aaron, it's July 10th. It's not even the dog
it's gonna
day.
get worse.
This is early stages of the off season, and we're doing the show. So what are we going to talk about today? Honestly, I don't know.
Whatever we want.
We got Colby Cohen coming on, so giddy up. We'll chat with him about kind of what's going on around the NHL, get his take, an unbiased opinion on the Oilers off season and how they look heading into next year. We got a Short for Giant off-season question to get to as well. And of course, you're all bumping over in the YouTube chat, in the Greta YouTube chat. So let's dig into that. What's going on here? Connor McDavid had the first comment. All right. Oh, shout out to Greta, by the way. Arcade bar, street food, great summer spot, patio. You know it's rocking. Maybe it's cool inside as well.
I don't think it's cool anywhere in the city right now.
It's probably not cold
right
anywhere.
Here in our offices.
But cool off with a nice cold brewski at Greta. That's not a bad idea at all. Connor McDavid is in. This is the show that will single-handedly get me through the offseason. I love you, Tyler Yaremchuk, and the boys. Well, hopefully we can continue to do that, but I am 7 days away from going on vacation. So it'll be Liam and the boys getting you through the offseason for 10 days, I believe. So giddy up on that. Joel is in, our pal from out in Vancouver. 1 move away from having Broberg and Hollywood signed and under the cap. That move is CC, gone for picks. 2 RFAs signed for $2.5 million combined will give us $300K in cap space to start the season. I don't know if we're going to get another trade. I have a funky feeling they're going to try and make it work without moving out a body, or as Joel adds up, if Kane does go on out the IR, then we can get our top 4 RHD early in the season. Yeah, maybe. I'm not even sure if I'm expecting anything significant like that to drop. Smurfy is in. Connor ready for the big day. Royal wedding 2.0.
When does he get married?
I don't know. Although I did see Ryan McLeod was in Tyler Benson's wedding party. So that's a weird connection.
Really?
Yeah, it popped up on my Instagram, like mutual friends kind of thing. And I was like, that's an odd duo. I wouldn't have expected. Like, I guess their overlap would have been down in Bakersfield.
Yeah, but
they're not like, I mean, one's from Edmonton, one's from Ontario.
Yeah, and he stayed in Edmonton.
Yeah. Anyways, Connor McDavid F's in the chat for Cap Friendly RIP. To be fair, we got like 3 more days with Cap Friendly than we thought we would. So there's that. But yes, RIP Cap Friendly. We'll get into that in a little bit. Lance, I hope we talk soccer. We do have a Betway Other Sports report we're going to get to in a bit. What else is going on? Oh, and no Liam. He is in BC somewhere. Him and his lady were at a winery the other day.
Quite the view.
Yeah, it was quite the view. What else have they been up to? I'm going to go to their Instagram right now. We'll do it live. They were at Lunacense Winery. So I hope they enjoy. I hope Liam's enjoying his time off. Liam and I, and it was honestly kind of accidental because when the offseason started, it's like, okay, one of us should kind of always be here. And it was like, well, when's your vacation? And his vacation was this week. Mine starts next week. I get many more vacation days than Liam, though. I'm gone for 10 straight. But we have just kind of lined up. So I think next Monday he'll be here. We don't know. I'm not sure when he comes back. I know Waz is back on Monday. That obviously doesn't affect this show.
It's good to know.
But I think Liam's back on Monday. So I think Liam and I will do one show together Monday, and then it'll go back to just Liam. Fridays, I think, are going to be interview days still. So we'll try to get a few things like that lined up. So, yeah, giddy up. A lot of RIP Cap Friendly. We knew this was coming.
Yeah.
don't mistake a Mexican. Don't tempt me with a good time on this hot day, Tyler. Cold beer is 100% the play. I played slow pitch last night and I almost died. Original Posar is joining us live.
Hey!
Should know Hart Levine that runs Puckpedia is a huge Oilers fan from Edmonton, currently lives in Cali, but his family's in Edmonton. Our moms play Mahjong together. That is a hell of a connection right there. But yes, Hart Levine is a great guy. And everyone in the chat, yes, RIP Cap Friendly. Cap Friendly was awesome. But you'll get used to Puckpedia. I'm telling you right now. And Joel just said it. They're stepping up their game. They absolutely are. Puckpedia has made a lot of changes. Every time I type in puck, it wants to take me to Puck Doku, which is a great summer idea. Can we solve the Puck Doku in like 5 minutes live on the show? Ooh. That's a good Dog Days of Summer idea.
Dog Days right there.
Dog Days of Summer ideas I have. That Puck Doku idea, probably decent. The other one is just, and it has to be when Liam and I are here together, have Liam blindly read out the 10 highest trending things on Twitter and why they're trending. But like, don't tell him we're doing it until the show starts, and just be like, all right, Liam, giddy up, let's go.
Break it down for me.
Yeah, because right now, like, what is the top 10 trending? Number 1 is Argentina, self-explanatory soccer stuff, great. NATO is number 2. Would love to hear Liam explain on the fly why NATO is trending. George Clooney, but he's trending because he wants Joe Biden to step away from the race. Again, a hilarious thing to have Liam come on and figure out. So, hashtag Portfolio Day.
Wait till you see number 6.
Portfolio Day. It's just artists posting art. Okay. Again, somewhat self-explanatory. 5, Argentina, Canada. Hashtag Trump pedophiles.
Liam?
Probably did not. Liam, your take. Boo, I didn't need to click that. My algorithm's going to be cooked. 7, Ukraine. LCBO trending. There's something with liquor in Ontario that if someone in the chat can explain to me, like I'm 5. Anyways, back to the chat, back to the hockey stuff. Again,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. A little, again, if Liam was here and actually going in depth on it, easy 10-minute segment. But the point is, Puckpedia is going to be good. Again, I kind of like the UX, I think you call it, has improved. They got the top UFAs still sitting there. Joe Pavelski, Daniel Sprong. How is Joe Pavelski still unsigned? Oh, he said he's retiring, right?
I think, right?
Yeah, he kind of said he was done at the end of the year. That makes sense. So yeah, Joe Pavelski is probably going to retire. So Sprong, James Van Riemsdyk, Tyler Johnson, Justin Schultz,
reunion.
He's a PTO candidate somewhere, I bet, or like a 1-year $800K deal somewhere. Kevin Shattenkirk, Max Pacioretty, surprising. Mike Hoffman is a little bit surprising as well. Kyle Okposo, he's probably retiring. He got his ring, but you can see there the teams who are in the most cap hell. There's Washington, 14.17. They're over, but that's basically, just going to be Oshie and Backstrom going on LTIR. Golden Knights, 3.6 over, but I think that's going to be Robin Lehner's LTIR. Avalanche are over. No one knows what's happening with Nichushkin. Nobody knows what's happening. Like, Landeskog should play. How good's he going to be? I don't know. Panthers are over. Flyers are over. Then you get to the Oilers, who are $354,000 over the salary cap. We've done this, a bunch of times already over the last couple of shows, but that's $354K over with 12 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 2 goalies on the roster. So if you were to waive Josh Brown and give Josh Brown's money to Philip Broberg, $1 million, which I feel like Broberg might get a little bit more, but also he has no arb rights. The only way he can gain leverage is by signing an offer sheet. So you can squeeze. Remember when they squeezed Ryan McLeod really hard before his last deal, and he signed for like $770,000? Like, you could probably do that with Philip Broberg here, unless he's inclined to go sign an offer sheet somewhere, which I don't think he will be. So you can give Josh Brown's money to Broberg and you're good. And then the issue would be you have to give, I guess, Derek Ryan's money to Holloway, but that's probably not enough. But even if you did that, that's 12 forwards, 7D, 2 goalies, and you're still $354,000 over, which would mean night 1 of the regular season, you would have to send down Troy Stetcher, and then you'd have $400,000 in cap space. And now that might work if you can do Kane on LTIR right when the season starts. If you can do Kane on LTIR once the season starts, then You're cap compliant on day one. You actually wouldn't even have to squeeze them all that hard if the plan is Kane LTIR. Because again, 354K over, night one of the regular season, you have Josh Brown in the minors, you have Troy Stetcher in the minors, you have Derek Ryan in the minors. That right there is 1.7, 2.6-ish million. So that means you'd have 2.3 to sign Holloway and Broberg, which you can do. Start the night, start the season, boom, cap compliant. Kane on LTIR, immediately bring up Stetcher, immediately bring up Derek Ryan. You're running 13, 7, and 2, and you have LTIR room as wiggle space. So there you go. OP is
a great breakdown.
Yeah, I think that's like the simplest way to explain it. I think I'm right. Replace Brown and Ryan with Broberg, Holloway, replace Perry with Lavoie, put them just on. Perry with Lavoie is the other one. You'd have to waive Perry. So yeah, if Holloway gets 950K and Broberg gets 950K, and then you take Brown and Ryan, that's Josh Brown, not Connor Brown, put them in the minors, replace Perry with Lavoie, gives you the extra 400K. So you'd have to waive Perry and have Perry do the old Jason Spezza, I'm retiring if anyone claims me, and then you go from there. So it makes sense.
That's some cap gymnastics right there.
Yaremchuk math, but I think it was right. I think it was correct. Also, I think it looks weird with nothing on the wall next to me, and we're gonna have Colby on right away, so we're gonna be in a 2-shot. I'm gonna hang this up over here.
Nice, smart move.
Smart.
The fly.
Again,
guy's a set designer and
it's
a host.
July 10th.
Hey, we're hanging.
We have how many more shows do we have until hockey? Hang that right there. Oh, that looks like shit.
It's 28 degrees outside right now.
It is hot as hell. Can I hang it up here? Does that look okay? Oh, that looks good right there. There we go.
Layla Mama.
Alabama, baby. Yeah, we have a lot of shows until hockey season's back, so giddy up. Original pose are asking the question if you can accrue while in LTIR. 0 cap accrue if in LTIR, and have to fit the entire AAV of any acquired player, not just the portion of their contract that's left. LTIR is terrible, but might just be the spot the Oilers are in here. Tyler Yaremchuk with a good comment. I want to talk about this. Should start doing shows in random places around town. So we had a grand idea at one point of doing Tyler and Liam's small town summer road trip.
Yep. Visiting the towns that Connor Brown stopped in.
Yeah, or doing something like that. And I mean, full disclosure, behind the scenes, the idea was we'd get it sold to someone, like a local travel, whatever. And Liam and I would go around for like a week in the summer and just do a show in a bunch of different spots. It'd be like, do a show at the Egg in Vegreville. We 100% talked about that. The Sausage in Mundare, I think, is a big one. St. Paul has like the spaceship or alien ship landing thing, whatever, UFO landing thing. We had that idea, and we'd probably like play some golf courses and do like a bunch of video content and just go around for a week and do like 7 straight shows from across Alberta, and it would be fun. But it's also tough coming out of the season. Everyone around here's got to take vacations, so no one's really around. So you kind of have to do it in August, and August is there enough to do it. But it'd be similar to what did they used to do? Jane Dan used to do it. The craft. Remember they load up the bus. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And they went coast to coast. We obviously wouldn't do that because like, what the fuck would we do in like Dauphin, Manitoba? Shout out Dauphin, Manitoba. But there'd be nothing to do there. So we had the idea. It has been discussed behind the scenes. The show's grown a lot in the last 2 years. So maybe like next summer it's big enough where like we could actually do that and whatever. But
spend your vacation touring small town Alberta.
Why not? Calvin Pickard. Honestly, I would just watch that. I don't need Oilers related content in the summer. Yeah, I mean, sure. There's a giant dragonfly in Wabaman. That'd be fun. The other thing too is if we were gonna do it in front of these landmarks, it might be tough to do it live.
Yeah, but you could,
because like the internet would just be probably god awful. I can't imagine the signal's great right in front of the Egg, the Pasenka in Vegreville. But
there is a giant. What did he say there? Bug. Here, I'll show you in 1 second.
Okay. Tyler Yaremchuk, can I come play some golf with you, Ty? You absolutely can. I'm always open for an invite to go golf. I think I'm golfing with a listener, our boy Brad Bay, who is in the chat every once in a while. He usually listens to shows, a podcast because he works nights. But I think him and I are going to be going to the Millwoods golf course together this week. We're talking about it. There's the giant dragonfly. It doesn't look that big. Don't know if it's worth our time.
Not that giant.
Yeah. We got actual questions coming in. Do a show at K-Days. Got to pay us for that. I'm not doing a show for free at K-Days. Come on now. Sergeant Battle from season 1, episode 1 to today. It's been sick to watch this show grow. Thank you. And that reminds me, the Ryan McLeod live trade reaction stream we did was our most viewed live stream ever on YouTube.
It was, yeah.
Which is weird to like put it into that context. Again, when I was setting up, I talked about this the other day, but I was setting up the stream and I was like, why am I setting up a stream for Ryan McLeod for a 3rd round pick? Like, what is the point in all of this? Happy I did it because, again, the views were, it beat the Matthias Ekholm live trade reaction by just under 2,000.
That's insane.
Which is crazy that it beat it by that much.
In the offseason.
It beat the Adam Henrique one by almost 3,000. And then the other streams from there's a couple of Gregor ones that really popped off. Why did these Gregor ones pop off? Who did he have on the show these days? Oh, it's just Gregor's playoff streams? Yeah, he didn't even have big guests. Gregor's playoff streams popped off.
There you go for 4 hours.
Yeah, I think they're all episodes of Wanye. I tell Wanye that. And then the Oilers going to the Cup final is our biggest non-trade related stream we've ever done. Live from the finals, game 1, and then the day after they won the West. Those are the only 2 that have hit 10K on YouTube. Interesting.
People love Ryan McLeod or
hated Ryan McLeod so much that they wanted to watch the stream. How big was the DFO free agent day? That one, I mean, the DFO stuff, when we do those, I mean, the other thing too is like, you have to remember the time, right? Like when we're streaming for 4 hours on YouTube, there's so much more time for random people to pop up through the algorithm that it makes sense, which is honestly why when I look at our show doing the numbers it does for like a 45-minute stream, I think it says a lot about you guys, the audience, like wanting to seek it out because it's only up there for like 40 minutes. But how big was the DFO one? I want to say we popped to just over 30K. So again, it does like double. The big shows we do on DFO do like double what we usually do on a big show. Yeah.
Yeah. When I did it live, the concurrent, it was like 70,000 watching.
Yeah. But that includes Twitter. Yeah. And because Frank retweets it and Twitter just blows up. But yeah, the DFO free agency this year did 36. Trade deadline this last year did 38. Free agency the year before did 31. So pretty solid. Pretty solid numbers. The DFO stuff has definitely grown a lot in the last year as well. All right. Okay. Let's dig into some comments. Actually, before we do that, let's do our Around the League segment because we got 2 minutes, so we're going to get to Colby. Around the League is brought to you by, is it Spring Financial? Around the League brought to you by Spring Financial?
It can be.
Around the League, it's going to be brought to you by our friends over at Spring Financial. Our new friends. Unexpected expenses can pop up anywhere. Your car can break down. Your home needs repairs, but that is why Spring Financial is here to help you out. You can borrow money for those unexpected expenses right from your phone and receive an e-transfer within hours. Spring Financial offers personal loans from $500 up to $35,000. No stress, no branch visits ever. Join thousands of happy Canadian customers. Apply today, Spring Financial. .ca/ONE. You can apply in 3 minutes at springfinancial.ca/ONE. All right, here's what we got. Nothing has happened since Monday. Cap Friendly died. RIP Cap Friendly. But like straight up, I'm looking at the DFO headlines from the last few days. The Blue Jackets signed someone named Jake Christensen. Utah signed Igor Sokolov, who they got from the Ottawa Senators. Artem Duda signed no way I'm saying that right. That has to be different. 3-year ELC for him. Honestly, like nothing. Pittsburgh named Wes Clark vice president of player personnel. Shut out Kyle Dubas for only hiring his friends. I would do the same thing. If someone was like, Tyler, you're the GM of the Oilers, you better believe. If I don't
get a job, I'm going to be pissed.
And like Liam would be day one hired. Like, and I'm hiring Liam.
Head scout.
Yeah. So there's nothing going on right now. RIP Cap Friendly. Shout out Puckpedia, who's going to pick things up. They've been doing it for a couple of years, so it's not the same as like when, what were the other ones? General Fanager and Cap Geek is what it was called. Yeah. When those two went away, there was like kind of nowhere to really jump into, if I remember correctly. And then like places were starting from scratch. Puckpedia has already been doing it. And they've been doing a really good job for the last couple of years. They're going to be your new home. Get used to it. Go click around. Start playing with it now. And then by the time the regular season rolls around, you'll be ready to go. So there you go.
Adam Boquist sign with the Panthers?
Yes. He joined his brother out there.
So that's something.
That is something. Oh, Colby's getting antsy.
Yeah,
It's 12:20. He showed up at 12:18, was in the chat being like, I'm here. Hurry up. You're wasting my time. So let's get out to the Star Mechanical Guest Line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them online at starmechanical.ca. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. They do it all. Shout out to Star Mechanical. All right, Colby Cohen from Morning Cuppa Hockey joins us. What's your summer schedule like, Colby? I know you're waking up early to watch Wimbledon.
I do have Wimbledon on. Taylor Fritz just fell apart, the last American man standing, so I was very disappointed in that. But before I talk more about Wimbledon, Tyler, there's another cap site that I saw somebody tweet about earlier today, and it honestly looks exactly like Cap Friendly. It's called capwages.com, and I'm telling you right now, if I had a couple of beers, I'd think it was Cap Friendly. It looks identical to Cap Friendly. I haven't dug in on it yet, but it seems a lot more friendly to look at than Puckpedia. So that might be another one that's worth looking at. So just want to throw that out there.
This is a lawsuit waiting to happen because it looks way too much like Cap Friendly.
Doesn't it? Literally looks like Cap Friendly. But listen, I'm not complaining. I like it.
I think I might ride with Puckpedia. I think I got to give my boy Hart some love. I think I'm going to be a Puckpedia guy going forward. But
all right, hey, listen, you're a loyal guy. I know that about you. You are a loyal guy. So yes, I'm watching a lot of Wimbledon in the morning. It's really hot right now, so Oliver's long walks and park sessions are curbed a little bit right now. Although he is a couple feet away from me, as he always is. Oliver, stop what you're doing, buddy. And yeah, otherwise, man, it's just being a dad, watching tennis, getting excited for the U.S. Open that comes to New York in a couple of months. We traveling a little bit, seeing some family. We were in Florida for a week, seeing some family up there. I was with you in Vegas for a week, doing some work and up to no good, we had some great dinners in Vegas, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. What was the thing I ate at the seafood restaurant that I was hesitant about? And it was like raw fish. What was that called?
Hamachi crudo. I was really proud of you. You ate the hamachi crudo at Catch in Las Vegas, which is a hamachi. It's a nice light white fish, and it comes in this very unique sauce. But I was very proud of you for trying it. I really was. I thought that was like a big step in your food journey.
Yeah, not the craft dinner I'm usually used to eating. So 100% on that. It was an adventure for sure, but it was really good. I've never been there before. It was a solid restaurant.
I don't know if Greta in Edmonton has hamachi crudo. I don't know if they serve that.
But they have pizza taquitos, which I would prefer. The pizza taquitos are legit at Greta Kolb. All right, Morning Cuppa Hockey. You guys are doing one show a week right now, like an interview every week, right?
So we're doing one show a week for about an hour and a half. We did our first summer, show this morning with Jeremy Roenick, the Hall of Famer. He spent about 45, 50 minutes with us. And, it was a really interesting interview because I've known JR for, probably, I know exactly how long I've known JR since the 2011 playoffs. We kind of became pals, and, I've spent a lot of time with him and his family since. And it's really interesting to talk to him now that he's been placed in the Hall of Fame, because he talks about on the interview with us how humbling it is. And, the fact that for a while he didn't think he was going to get in, and he felt like there were other reasons outside of hockey that were keeping him out of the Hall of Fame. And, one of the things that he said, and I would urge you to go watch our show, it's on the Daily Faceoff YouTube, or you can get it anywhere where you get your podcast. He talks about how now that he's a Hall of Famer, he has to represent the Hall of Fame in a certain way. And you could just hear in his voice, he got emotional a couple of times, how humbling of a phone call that was, and an experience it's been for him getting into the Hall of Fame. So yeah, every Wednesday at 9 a.m., we're going to put a show out. Some of them will be live. Some of them will not. Like this morning was not live. We did it yesterday because JR is on the West Coast and, the 3-hour time change. But yeah, I mean, I think we have Mario Ferraro next week. I think the week after that, I think Cale Makar is coming on our show. So we've got a pretty good, Johnny's friends with Cale Makar. He played college hockey with him at UMass. So That's kind of the plan. We're going to bring Danny Briere has committed to coming on for an episode. So it's going to be heavy interviews. If there's any news, we'll talk about it. We talked a little bit about this whole Igor Shesterkin, Jeremy Swayman contract situation today. We talked about my point of view on development camps in July and why I think the on-ice portion of development camp is completely useless. And I actually had one of your guys' loyal peeps reach out to me on Twitter that watched our show this morning and told me that Edmonton did not do on ice at their development camp this year. So there's about 2 or 3 teams that don't do it. And I think those teams are so much smarter and so much ahead of the curve, because battle drills in July doesn't make sense to me, Tyler. Like, players are not ramped up to that. The goal is to ramp up to that for rookie camp and training camp. So, we kind of went all over today.
Interesting. Not a lot going on. As I said in my Around the League report, a lot of teams have kind of gotten the bulk of their work done. I wanted to ask you a little bit about what you thought of the Oilers offseason, because even though it's only been 2.5 weeks since they lost Game 7, like, optimism is high right now around Edmonton. Is it a homer take to say the Oilers are looking like a wagon after what they did in the first 10 days of the offseason?
No, not at all. And I texted you and was texting you every time Jeff Jackson, wrote a check or made a deal, as he was just wheeling and dealing. And, look, we don't need to go player for player because everybody already knows. But I think what this should really do for fans in Edmonton is make them realize that I think the Edmonton Oilers are becoming a destination. And I got to tell you something. I've had good friends that have gone into free agency over the last 10 years. And Edmonton, I'm not going to throw any names out there, but let's talk about a right shot power play defenseman who was a big name free agent 5 years ago, who Edmonton came to him, offered him a 7-year contract, offered him top of the market money, and he didn't go. He went to his hometown team, took a discount, whatever, because guys didn't want to go. There was a stigma like there is in Winnipeg, right? For an American player or a guy from the East Coast or whatever. I don't think that that's there anymore, because I think Connor McDavid, and more than Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, they get a lot of credit. But I think the atmosphere in which the Edmonton Oilers and their fans showed up with during the playoffs, I think really opened a lot of people's eyes. And I've come on your show time and time again and complained about Connor McDavid needing to be on national TV in America on Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. or 1 p.m. So everybody here who only hears whispers about this magical hockey player can see it, right? And I think you combine all that with the fact that they were on ABC on the biggest one of the biggest networks in America all throughout the Cup Finals. They took it to Game 7. There was a noticeable difference when you watched a game in Florida versus Edmonton. You could feel the energy. And I think that really is changing the way people look at this team and this organization, and the fact that they have this win now window. And I think that's where, Skinner's like, why would I go somewhere? Other teams offered Skinner more. He took less money to go to Edmonton. So I see a changing of that sort of mentality of I don't want to go play in Edmonton. It's too far. It's too cold, whatever. So I think that is a massive, massive shift and change that came from the success that this team had all season.
It is wild to look at that. Even Adam Henrique taking, less money to come back to Edmonton after kind of getting a taste of it for a couple of weeks. It is significant, and it's a total shift from what we're used to in the old days of, the Oilers having to pay, extra, throw the extra year at Milan Lucic and all that kind of stuff to get these guys to commit. Outside of Edmonton, who's on your podium of off-season winners here? And if Oliver has a take, more than welcome to chime in.
Yeah. Well, of course he has a take. Hi, buddy. Look, you can't not love what Barry Trotz did. You really can't. You can't sit there and look at the moves that they made and not feel really good about, who Barry Trotz is going to be as a GM. And I think the fans in Nashville are a completely underrated fan base. I think players want to play there. JR said on my show yesterday, Johnny asked the question, if there was one team, you were a 33-year-old free agent you could sign with, who would it be? And he named two: Vegas, Nashville. Okay. And I think you saw that with what happened with Steven Stamkos and Brady Shea and Jonathan, Marchessault. So I think, those guys deserve a lot of credit, for what they were able to do and kind of the way that they were able to put their team, into a really good situation. And I also think, you combine that and you start looking around the league, a lot of the other teams, in my opinion, took a little bit of a step back, right? Like, Florida's not, in my opinion, going to be as good. And I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be as good. And I don't think the Rangers, in my opinion, didn't really do enough. I think, Boston went out. They made a couple of moves. I think they'll be good acquisitions in the short term, but I don't think they're going to be great acquisitions in the long term. I think you way overpaid Zadorov. I just don't think he's worth that. But, to me, Barry Trotz, he stole the show on free agency. He brought in the biggest names and he did the best work.
Yeah, I agree. It is a little bit of like the team that wins the offseason rarely ever goes on and wins the Stanley Cup. And I do think maybe in a couple of years, some of those deals might not age that well. Like 7x7 for Brady Shea, it's a lot of money. And I guess by the end of it, the cap, who knows what the cap will be?
Should be 115 or 120 million at that point. So that number becomes such a small, portion of your cap. And I don't think I gave enough credit to the New Jersey Devils just now too. When you asked me that question, like, I think they did a really good job between, grabbing, I see the comment now on the screen, don't sleep on the Devils. But, I think they bolstered their back end. I think they got better in goal. They added some sandpaper. I thought that, Stefan Nason signing up front for the Devils was a real quality signing. So like, I think the Devils actually put themselves, at or with the Rangers at the top of that Metropolitan Division. So I think they also did a really nice job out in New Jersey. And look, I think Kyle Davidson in Chicago, and I have some bias towards Kyle. He's a friend of mine, but I think he did the right thing this summer by surrounding Connor Bedard with some good talent. I really do. I liked the mix. He brought in some leadership. He brought in some higher end skill. I still don't see them as a good team next year, but they'll have a pulse, right? And that city needs to have a team with a pulse. So it's kind of how I saw free agency go for a couple of teams in a good way.
Who fumbled the hardest? Which GM are you looking at being like, what the hell are you doing, man? For me, when I pull up Puckpedia and I see the Detroit Red Wings sitting with $19.9 million in cap space. And listen, I know they went out and got Tarasenko, and that's a fine signing, and they're bringing back Patrick Kane, and that's a fine move as well. But they went out there and they gave up a second-round pick to get off of Jake Wallman. And now I'm going, there's no reason for them to do that. You didn't spend that money at all, and you didn't add a single defenseman outside of William Lagesson. Yeah. I don't know what the Red Wings are doing. Is that your answer, or is there another team out there?
Look, I think the Red Wings kind of fumbled a little bit for sure. I think when you look at, you look at a team like the Islanders, you kind of wonder, like, what are they doing? Like, what is the Islanders' purpose right now? It's just so we're okay with being okay type of mentality. They haven't, bought guys out. They haven't made any moves. I think they fumbled a little bit. But yeah, like what was Steve Yzerman doing? And then look, I got to tell you the other guy who I usually give the benefit of doubt to, but I think Julian Breezewall made a massive mistake in letting Steven Stamkos go the way that he let him go, not getting a deal done earlier, not finding a way to make it work. That 3x8, I get it. You're giving a guy 8 years who has no business getting 8 years. So you're like, look, we're going to pay you even way when you're not. But, I think that they should have figured out a way to, sit him down and come up with a long-term vision where you're going to go from player to this, to whatever, like make that work. And I think, I'm okay with saying bye to a superstar of 16 years. Like, I watched it happen in Chicago. It needed to happen, but I didn't like how it went down. And I thought that was a major fumble for Tampa. I think a lot of players in that Tampa locker room are really, really disappointed in how Julien Brisebois, went about that. And I've proposed this a number of times. Steven Stamkos and Mikhail Sergachev make right around the same amount of money as, Ryan McDonough and Jake Gensel. Okay. And my question is, are you better off? Like, are you that much better off? Like, I don't know. You already said bye to Ryan McDonough, who I'm a fan of. I love the way he plays and what he can still do. So I think Julien Brisebois fumbled the bag the way he handled that whole situation.
The other thing I didn't like about just the way things were handled in Tampa is going out the next day and announcing the Victor Hedman signing, because then Victor Hedman has to go do the Zoom call with the media where he's being asked about Stamkos, and the fan base is fired up because you basically signed him to the exact same deal that Stamkos got in Nashville. It's like, I get it. Maybe the thought was like, hey, let's try to bury the Stamkos thing and be like, look, Hedman's going to stay a Bolt for the rest, or for close to the rest of his career, but poor timing. You could have waited and signed that extension today, and it at least wouldn't have been met with so much negativity.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If you ask me to choose between Stamkos and Hedman, I'm choosing Hedman. I mean, Hedman is still one of the best defensemen in the NHL, and you still build around a guy like that. And I think, Steven Stamkos is a phenomenal player, and he's still a super high-end guy, and he's a captain and a leader. But if you said to me, Colby, it's one or the other, I'm taking Victor Hedman. I mean, I just want to be clear about that, but I'm with you. The optics of the way that, let's say, that 7 days went down was really bad. And honestly, like, the fact that you got nothing for Steven Stamkos, a guy who still has some real value, that's also a big miss, because, you're a team that has no assets. You have no draft picks. You're closer to crashing and burning and tearing it down than you are winning another Stanley Cup if you're Tampa Bay. So, you're a little too stuck in the present. You're not thinking about the future. And then you're mishandling guys who should really be given statues in front of your arena.
100%. Last area I wanted to go to with you, it is going to be our Sherwood Ford Giant question of the day. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant and their service department, whether it's the valet service, which gets you to where you need to go while your vehicle is being serviced, the mobile service van, which will come to you, or their countless bays that get you back on the road quickly. Sherwood Ford the Giant, countless reasons to make them your next dealership. Not to be all Johnny Lazarus, but it's a fun one, Colby. It's the middle of summer. We're throwing around a bunch of shit. What is one hockey debate or conversation or topic that you would love to have go away for the rest of time? One thing that you are so damn sick of talking about.
Look, it's the overall theme of this is the puck all the way across the line, whether it's the goal line, whether it's the blue line. The fact of the matter is, and you brought up Wimbledon earlier, and I have it on over my shoulder right now. They have shot spot technology at the majors now. I don't believe they have it at the French because it's a little different on clay, so it's a little more difficult. But, there's no more line judges. You're taking human error out of it. You have a chip and you have technology, and it shows exactly where the ball hit, whether it's on the line, off the line, a hair, a millimeter, a 1 million, whatever. Why, when they're serving the ball 100 and sometimes 40 miles an hour, can they figure something out? But we cannot figure anything out in the game of hockey. Let's put something in the puck, okay? Let's take human error out of it. Let's get rid of these 5 and 7 minute replays on offsides, or did the goalie's glove is blocking the camera in the net so you can't see if it went in. Why is there not technology for this, Tyler? Let's get rid of the offsides debate. Is the puck in the net debate? Let's just let technology be a beautiful thing and let that solve these problems, okay? And then, the other thing you could do is just make the blue line, if you're touching the blue line's part of the offensive zone now. Rather than having to clear the blue line, just make the blue line part of the offensive zone. You'll have more goals. That's always the goal with the NHL, is more goals, more entertainment. Make the blue line part of the offensive zone. All you got to do is be touching it, right? And I think that will eliminate these constant debates. And in the playoffs, when we're sitting here going, oh, that shouldn't be called back in a Stanley Cup game. And it's like, well, but if it was offsides, it's offside. You know, I'm sick of that shit. Okay. That's something that we could eliminate and we aren't. And I don't get it, right? Like the 5-minute major hits to the head, all that, that's always going to be goalie interference. That stuff's always going to be, you know, a gray area, even though goalie interference is so annoying, but I thought that would be too easy of a response to you guys. So I think that to me, you could do really wonders with some technology in the puck and eliminate those questions and all those reviews about those questions.
In a sport like soccer, and I see Spidey threw it in the chat, the VAR in soccer now, like the offside line in soccer is always moving based on the play, right? In hockey, it is the same spot every time. The goal line is the same spot every time. Like you're bang on. There is absolutely no reason why this kind of technology can't be adopted at the highest level in the NHL. It shouldn't be a money thing. Like you just have to outfit the 32 arenas once and boom, you're good to go. So I really don't understand that. Like why there can't be like they have in VAR in soccer where the line goes up, they do the little animation and look like the tip of his knee was this far over, offside, versus in the NHL. Like even that goal, I know it benefited the Oilers, but like that goal the Panthers scored, and it ended up being a bit of a changer too. And I think it was game 4 of the Cup final or game 6 of the Cup final it was. Yeah, it was game 6 of the Cup final. That really changed things. And I know they eventually got the call right, but the fact that there's even the gray area is just a bad look for the league.
Yeah, no, listen, it makes me wonder what is happening that it isn't. Think about all the guys are wearing chips in their jerseys. We know how fast everyone's skating. I mean, look, you could also, why can't we put something on skate blades or on skates, right? I mean, there has to be some way to do this where people who are a lot smarter than you and I can figure it out and the players wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah, you're bang on. All right, Colby, appreciate your time, man. This was a real good 20 minutes of in-depth hockey talk. Go back to enjoying your Wimbledon.
All right, see you, boys.
There you go. Colby Cohen on the Star Mechanical guest line. Shout out to Star Mechanical. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford, the Giant as well. Always fun to catch up with our guy, Colby, a little bit. We'll kind of do like throughout the summer again. We'll have just kind of our regulars through the season pop on for little summer chats. We'll get into some maybe bigger picture stuff. You know, stuff like we just did with Colb at the end there, a little bit of hockey talk. But again, we're trying to do this for basically 3 hours a week throughout the entire summer. So we'll have to go to some pretty weird spots. Randy is in. Soccer needs the embellishment yellow card. That sport is so embarrassing to watch for a new fan. That ties in really nice to our Betway Other Sports Report. Let's do that right now, Aaron. You can get a free bet worth up to $200 with our friends at Betway. All you need to do is head over to Betway, create a new account, place a wager with no minimum amount required. And if your bet loses, you'll get a free bet worth up to $200. Scan the QR code on your screen right now to join the action with Betway. I always get a real kick out of these moments when Canada doesn't have a lot of big soccer matches, AB.
No.
I do love when the country buys into it. I wore my Canada kit yesterday.
I am one of those people. I'm such a bandwagoner.
So am I, but that's like the beauty of it, supporting your country, right? Like, again, there's plenty of people who, when the Olympics, when it was best on best for the Olympics in hockey, or even the Oilers going to the Cup final, they're nowhere near being hockey fans, but they jump on the bandwagon. That's cool. That's good. That's how you grow sports. So I love when Canada has big soccer matches. I wore my kit. I went out and ran some errands yesterday. I had two people.
Nice kit. That was good.
I had 2 people come up to me and go, "Hey, big match tonight. What time's the match tonight again?" My dad doesn't watch soccer, doesn't really he's never been into it. Last night, he was like, "Yeah, I watched the soccer match."
Me and all my buddies hung out and watched the soccer game.
I do get a kick, though, out of every single time. And it's one of those conversations that maybe I'd love to kill. The hockey fans who never, ever, ever, ever watch it, complaining about things that are, yes, there's a lot of diving in soccer/football. Like, it kind of is just a part of
it's a part of the game, dude. It's like
a part of the game. It's a part of the gamesmanship as well, a little bit, right? Like, if you want to get the calls in soccer, sometimes you got to dive. Like, I don't know. I do just
trained in the game. It's been a part of it for so long I mean, I know the one he's talking about yesterday. It was an egregious the Argentina guy didn't even get touched.
He didn't get touched.
And he rolled and rolled and rolled.
The one that really made me laugh is, I think it was like Kane or whatever on Canada, when he kicked the ball at him on his back, and the guy grabs his back and was like, it's like, okay.
It's like he got shot.
Yeah, that's a little, like, that's embarrassing because it has no impact on the play.
And you're
but
already on the ground. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not drawing a yellow card doing that.
Yeah, and Spidey says DePaul took it a bit far last night. Oh, he totally took it a bit far. And it was funny that, again, like, Argentina, the fact they go to those lengths to beat Canada, who is not exactly the powerhouse that Argentina is. I had someone tweet yesterday, or I saw someone tweet yesterday, that if Canada ever plays Argentina in hockey, we are going top power play unit the whole game. If it's 99-0, McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon over the boards, we're getting that 100th goal.
We'll get our revenge. We'll get our revenge. They are just so much faster. They move up the field.
Yeah.
The pitch. They move up the pitch very efficiently, so much faster than we do.
Also, again, I am not a footy analyst. I don't know the sport all that well. I play it recreationally now. And Liam says I am, it was something like I'm an athletically gifted 12-year-old on the pitch because I run very fast.
He said you're very fast.
I'm fast. I score a lot, but I do not understand the strategy of it at all. With that being said, watching yesterday, I feel like Canada had some good looks early on.
Yes.
Like, there were Jonathan David, Kyle Larin. They had some chances in that match. And they call him, he's Canadian Messi now because of how he played against Venezuela. And I'm forgetting his name. But anyways, he had a couple early on too where he looked to the sky and I was like, oh man, like they hung with him. I know
what's that dude's name?
I know, I'm totally blanking on the name now.
Exactly what you're talking about.
It was 2-0, and that's not close, which I get it. But Canada had some looks. I felt like they hung with them for a bit there.
The first goal went through our keeper's, kind of like his legs went on. And I was like, oh no, here it goes.
Yeah. So Schaffelberg. There we go. Thank you, Spidey. Yeah, they put up a good fight, says Lance, and I'm with you 100%. Brady says, when's Liam back? He's back on Monday, so we'll get his take on it then. I'm sure he watched. But anyway, the Blue Jays last night lost in the most Blue Jays fashion imaginable. So, that sucks. Whatever, man. It's the Jays. Like, this season's going to suck. Not having meaningful baseball to watch in August.
Thank God we have the Olympics this summer because baseball's, the Jays are usually what gets me through.
Yep.
But I just do not want to watch. I watched yesterday. They had the lead. And then I was like, hey, let's go play some Frisbee. Went and played Frisbee, came back, and I was like, wait, how? They lost? What?
Yeah.
Blue Jays.
It's brutal. Looking at my bets from last night. I missed a strikeout parlay by one guy. Oh, and I missed a big parlay by one leg too. Damn. Anyway, shout out to our friends at Betway. I'd be betting on baseball still, just not betting Jay's money line in any of those parlays because they stink. They're gonna sell. Yusei Kikuchi is gonna be gone. Danny Jansen might be gone by the deadline.
13 strikeouts. Yesterday.
Yeah, he had career high 13 Ks for the Coochmeister, as they call him. So shout out Yusei Kikuchi. Daki, I'm gonna make so much money off the Olympics this year. I can't wait. I don't even know what to bet on at the Olympics. 100-meter dash is probably pretty electric to bet on.
I gotta watch that new Netflix show Sprint to know who to bet on.
That's smart. I know there's footy there, so you can bet on the footy.
There's tennis.
Oh, there is golf in the Olympics.
Yeah, right.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And tennis.
Oh, I'm gonna be way in on the golf. How do they do
basketball?
That? Basketball. Canada's gonna be sick at basketball. SGA's in that.
I'll take a podium.
I'd be very thrilled with an Olympic bronze for Canada, but I think they'll be right in the mix.
They won the last tournament granted that didn't have LeBron and Steph and KD playing, so asterisks, but we did win the last one.
Canada basketball roster.
Lacrosse and baseball, pretty sure too.
No, I don't think baseball is this time. I think baseball might be one of those that's coming in for like 2028 or whatever in LA. Like the Olympics in LA is adding like flag football and stuff.
Sport climbing, skateboarding, and surfing are making their Olympic debuts.
Mr. Burns, short track cycling is my favorite. Oh, Tour de France is on right now. Okay, Canada's men's basketball roster. It's sick. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, RJ Barrett, good. Dylan Brooks, effective.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker is also good.
Yeah. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, unbelievable. Like
top 5 in the NBA.
Could have won MVP last year. Jamal Murray, very good. Kelly Olynyk can be a role guy for you. Like, this is a really good roster.
Lou
Dort's effective.
Sick defender.
Yeah.
We're going to be in this thing.
Yep. Canada's going to be in the mix. We'll get into the basketball for sure. Without a doubt. All right. There's your Betway Other Sports Report. Don't bet on the Blue Jays. That is my advice to you. Bet on pitcher strikeouts because it's the most fun thing you can do. Okay, what else we got to do before we wrap up the show? Rumor report for our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Let's get that done here before we wrap up. It's going to be a quick one because, again, not a lot happening around the NHL, but it's summertime. Nothing better than spending summertime out on the water, which is why Sherwood Power Sports and Marine has everything you need, from fishing rods, reels, that kind of stuff, pontoon boats, all the accessories that go with that. They got you covered if you want to spend your summer out on the water. Shout out to Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Aaron Portzline reporting that Todd McClellan is out of the running in Columbus for their head coach. Couldn't agree to terms with McClellan, the Kings, and the Blue Jackets on how the money could kind of work there. So sounds like McClellan is out of the running in CBJ. They're the only team without a head coach. I would be surprised if Jay Woodcroft took that job. I think Jay Woodcroft is going to now wait and be the guy when someone gets fired, because he kind of did that in Edmonton. He showed
the reverse Knobloch.
Yeah, he'll be the next Knobloch. I think there'll be someone who stumbles out of the gates early, and Woody will come in and take over that job as the head coach. Who could that be? How high are expectations in Utah?
Not.
If they come out and are shit for like 5 weeks, maybe there's something there, but I doubt it.
I feel like they'd still give that a good runway before they do anything.
The only tough part I would say on that front is there are so many teams who've already made coaching changes recently that I'm not sure who would be disappointing enough that they're willing to grease a first or second year coach. Like Minnesota made a coaching change last year. St. Louis made a coaching change last year. Seattle just made a coaching change. So like none of those three are going to make anything in season. Vegas, I don't think they would make a coaching change even if they stumbled out of the gates. LA just made a coaching change. Nashville has Brunette. He's new. Colorado, unless things like went terribly, I don't think they would grease Bednar. Vancouver wouldn't touch Tocchet. Winnipeg just made a coaching change. Dallas would make a coaching change. So out east, it's like Ottawa, New Jersey just hired their guys. Buffalo just brought back Lindy, so that's not happening. Philly, Torts is locked in. Pittsburgh, but even that, I don't see Mike Sullivan going anywhere in season. That's too big of a move to make. Detroit, they just made one not that long ago. Who's Detroit's new head coach?
Yeah.
Bear with me. I'm pulling it up. Do they team info? Derek Lalonde. Maybe Detroit.
I could see Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit would be a team to watch.
Once
then
again, are they a team that's going to be?
Yeah, like what are expectations there?
Got 19 million to spend, bro.
Toronto just hired Berube. Florida Cup, so Maurice is locked in. New York wouldn't make a change that quick. Carolina, Rod the Bod locked in, assuming he gets a new deal.
Flyers.
Tampa wouldn't fire Cooper. Flyers, Torts is locked in. So like honestly, I think next year is going to be a quiet year on the coaching front. So maybe Woody doesn't even get a job next year, which would be crazy. All right, that's it. Your rumor report. There's like mild offer sheet rumors, but they aren't substantial enough to even talk about. So yeah, Mulick. If I had to take a phone call. What did he say? Hockey is that how many cups do we have? Winning is so team focused on hockey. Winning shouldn't matter in a player's greatness. Totally, 100%. Like anyone who wants to talk about Connor McDavid's greatness and spot in the sport, he's established that himself personally. Like it's not Connor McDavid's fault Peter Chiarelli sucked. It's not Connor McDavid's fault that Ken Holland was a 50-50 GM, right? Like Connor McDavid's great. Connor McDavid is probably the most talented player the sport's ever seen. Whether the Oilers win a Stanley Cup or not has no impact on that. Alex Ovechkin is not less of a great goal scorer because he only has one cup. He is still the best goal scorer the sport has ever seen, right? Like, I agree with you, Mulick. That is nauseating to have to always do the cups thing. And, you know, it's the same thing. Like, my answer was kind of going to be like players who are labeled like choke artists in the playoffs. Like, I've never really liked that because, like, for years, Ovi was can't win.
He was the definition of can't get past the second round.
But, like,
and then he did it.
Ovi was always scoring a goal every other game in the playoffs, having big playoff moments, the dueling hat tricks with Crosby. Like, Ovi was a great playoff performer. His team stunk.
It's a team game.
It's a team game.
Not one player in hockey can impact as much as other sports. The NBA, you need three guys. And the NFL, you need a quarterback.
Yeah.
And then that can cover up so many of your errors.
Yeah, totally.
We love the GOAT debate and comparing rings. I blame MJ and Brady for that.
Yeah, that's fair because they've kind of set the bar. In hockey, I mean, Sid has 3.
But it's way less. Nobody like goes, Gretz only has 4.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't come out.
It is less of a thing in hockey. That is a good point. Joel Marner is a playoff choker. Yeah, I mean, like in that case, you can at least look at the numbers and the numbers back that up. My problem was always like, and I just keep going back to Ovi. But like with Ovi, you could look at his individual numbers and be like, dude, this guy scores like crazy. His production doesn't fall off at all in the playoffs. So he's not a choke artist. And people just like to lump him in more with the team, which is, I think, kind of what Mielik was getting at. So, all right. I think that is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Friday, I think we're going to have a special guest.
He is special.
He is good. It should be a really fun conversation. I think we're recording it today, so I don't know if I want to spoil it. Former Bakersfield Con is what I'll say, and I'll let your imaginations run wild. Take a stab at who you think it might be. We're going to record it, and then Friday, that's going to be Friday's episode of the show. We'll still have a giant question. We'll do a few other things, but it'll be our interview on Friday, so you won't want to miss that. Shout out to everyone in the YouTube chat. You guys were excellent today. Appreciate you hopping in.
The OGs are in the chat right
now. Yeah, it's
this
good.
This feels like a close family reunion here.
Yeah, like everyone in here are the people who have been here every day throughout the season. They don't miss a show. They're live every day with us at noon. So it'll be fun. We'll have a fun summer. And again, Friday, hopefully an interview coming your way as well. So enjoy the rest of your work week, everybody. Enjoy your Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in today. Shout out to Colby Cohen as well for popping on for a quick conversation. And Friday, we'll be back at you with an interview episode of the show. So we'll chat with you then.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.